It looks like we have a drug fight on our hand over the world's top selling drug. For those of you who don't know, I am Dave, a 10-year intellectual property attorney dealing with everything from trademarks, copyrights, trade secrets, as well as patents. Now, for those of you who don't know, you can actually get a patent on a drug. And a lot of times, at least in the US, I can't speak for other countries. In the US, it's kind of not only important that you get that patent because before you actually are able to sell a drug, you have to go through a lot of testing to get FDA approval so that you can kind of sell the drug to the public at large and kind of make money off of it. So the patent is actually really important from the drugs company standpoint because it gives them the ability to be able to kind of make a lot of money on that drug or on that patent for a long time, for the 20 years. And again, we'll talk about it a little bit more as we get off into the article. Some housekeeping items actually before I pull up the article. Please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, as well as hit that subscribe button to be a part of the IP community, where we do talk about a lot of stuff here. So we're not going to hold you up. We're going to get right off into the article and kind of see what we can glean from the article. So Innovation RX, a patent fight over the world's top selling drug. And this came out, I guess, at the end of April here. So I'm about a week late on this one. In the week's edition of Innovation RX, we look at a patent fight over the world's top selling drug, breakthroughs from American Association for Cancer Research, and the relationship between microplastics and heart disease. Okay, whatever. This is the Forbes article. So this is the real deal here. So Merck's is the world top selling drug, bringing in nearly 30 billion in sales last year. Hey man, and this is why. Let me kind of bring it back on myself here really quickly. This is why most people in the U.S. have a problem with these drug companies. So on one end, I'm talking about having to kind of go through all this testing to get FDA approval and being able to sell the drug in the U.S. But it seems like a lot of times, once that approval is made and you get that patent as well, you kind of inflate the drug prices. And I get it. You're trying to kind of recoup the money that you also spent in R&D, which I would imagine that is millions, if not billions of dollars. But ultimately, that cost is pushed on the consumers. And, as we get off into, this is a drug that treats lung cancer. So, that is needed, yet you're making a crazy amount of money on the drug. 30 billion in sales last year. And that's crazy. That's crazy. Let's continue to see what the article is saying. So the drug, which is used to treat lung cancer and certain other cancers, has historically been given by intravenous infusion, but Merck is gearing up to launch an injectable version that will be easier on patients. So it seems like they maybe are kind of, I'm not sure if they're given through pill format or whatever the case may be, but it seems like they're kind of gearing up to launch an injectable version that appears to be easier on the patients. That formulation is currently pending FDA approval. I was talking about earlier, where before you actually give these drugs to the consumers, you have to get FDA approval, which can take years and millions, if not billions of dollars in testing. So it seems like the agency has a target of September 23rd to decide and approve. Merck has its plans to launch October 1st. So shortly after the FDA agency gives approval. San Diego-based, and again, unfortunately, with these drug companies, they give you all these difficult names that you have to pronounce. So apologize if I butcher a couple of these. So the San Diego-based Halozyme is fighting that plan and last week filed suit in the U.S. District Court of New Jersey, alleging that the injection version of Merck's infringes on this patent. So it seems like Merck has this kind of patent that is, coming out with, or this drug that is coming out with that is, and it seems like Halozyme is saying, hold on, we're going to sue you guys for patent infringement to prevent the drug from coming out. It seems like that's what's happening up until this point in time. So Halozyme, which is publicly traded with the market cap of $7.5 billion. So again, no small company, partners with pharmaceutical companies to make injectable versions of important medicines, and said that it had expected Merck to sign a license. Oh, we see what is happening here. To sign a licensing deal in order to use its technology. It's now seeking an injunction to block Merck's planned commercialization of the drug. Merck has said that the lawsuit is meritless. So essentially what's going on is saying, hey, Merck is looking to come out with the drug in an injectable form. Initially, they were working with, what's the name of the company, Halozyme, to kind of, we all gonna make money from it. We're gonna use your injectable technology, and we're gonna be able to provide our drug to the public at large. And it seems like something kind of went awry. That relationship went sour, where Merck's like, hey, we no longer need y'all. We're gonna do this ourselves. And Halozyme is suing them for patent infringement. I'm assuming that Halozyme has a number of patents that are dealing with injectable technology, particularly to drug, with drugs. So that's essentially what's going on so far. Let's finish up this article here. It seems like Merck is saying that the lawsuit is meritless. The court battle comes at a critical point for Keytruda, which in other words is Merck, which is facing the approaching expiration of some key patents starting in 2028 that could potentially open the way for less costly versions known as biosimilars. So this is also what happens. So again, as I talked to you about, a lot of times these drug companies, when they get that FDA approval and they have the patent, they will come out with a drug. They're going to charge a ton of money. But again, we all know that patent is good. If you've been on this channel for any period of time, a patent is only good for 20 years from the date of the filing of the application. So what happens is that drug company tries to really overcharge to get all that money back, plus some in that 20 years that the patent is good for. But then typically what happens is you get competition, which again, they're calling biosimilars, where it's essentially a cheaper version that still gets the job done of the once more costly drug. And a lot of times, actually, what kind of the drug companies do to combat this is they will have a trademark on that higher drug version, so that even once the patent expires on it, people still would be kind of associated with that particular drug and say, hey, we still want that drug. But a lot of times doctors and stuff is like, hey man, you can get this other kind of cheaper version that's going to be a fraction of the cost. And a lot of times the patients go with that cheaper version, especially if it's going to get the job done. So that's essentially what kind of they're saying at that portion of the article. As I kind of bring it back up here, it's saying, look, in 2028, so what, in 3 years, a lot of some of the other key patents of Merck's is essentially going to be expired, which is going to allow some competitors to come in with some cheaper versions of the drug that I guess they're calling biosimilars. So Merck's effort to change the blockbuster drugs delivery system could potentially both increase its sales and extend its patents runway. Yeah, that's a way to do it. That is definitely a way to do it. On Tuesday, Merck said that it will spend $1 billion on a new factory in Delaware that would include biodrugs, the new injectable version of the Merck's among them. So that's essentially the article. So again, let me know what you guys think. It seems like Halozyme is trying to kind of block it. It seems like Merck is saying that it's meritless. We'll see what happens. If I had to guess, it seems like both sides. A lot of times when you file these lawsuits, that's just to bring the side to the other table, because a lot of times, again, like you said, they were at some point negotiating a licensing deal where they're both making money. Seems like Merck at some point said, screw you, we're going to do this on our own. And Halozyme did not like this, so they filed a lawsuit. Seems like a lot of times this lawsuit is a way to bring the other table, force the other table back to the table. And I would imagine that they're going to settle out, and both is going to make money and all as well in the world, at least for the big companies. So that's what I would imagine will happen, that they're going to kind of settle out. They're not going to go to trial and spend even more money trying to litigate this thing and fight this one out. I would imagine that Merck is probably going to pay Halozyme some amount of money to go away, or at least be able to license the product for them. And again, they're both going to make money. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments section. If you don't like the fact that these drug companies can make a ton of money, I guess at the expense of the public at large or the insurance companies, hey, tell me how you feel about that in the comment section as well. Again, please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Please hit that subscribe button. And I just came out with an ebook recently, got IP that helps you kind of form your IP, or kind of create IP as well as monetize off that IP. So check that out. The link is in the description section as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.